Imagine this, you are in a place, but you have no idea where you are, and you also do not know what next to do. There is one thing that you still know, which is that you want to get out of this place, and you also know that you have to go somewhere else, but you do not know where to go. Now, this sounds something like an escape room. If you have played this game where you are in this room, there are hidden clues, but you do not know where they are, and you don't even know where to look for them, but you know for sure that these clues exist. And you have one goal, that is to go out of that escape room. Life is an escape room. Here is what no one wants to admit. Most of us play like victims. We think that we have no control over these clues, and most of us live a very undeserving life because we think that we are not even capable to discover these clues. So you might be stuck in this job and you feel like, oh, I have to feed my family, and that's the reason I'm not quitting this job. But in reality, you are so comfortable with that job and you don't even put the efforts to do something else, or you are surrounded with so much of information that you are already overwhelmed and you are not taking action. All of these things are very similar to what happens inside the escape room. There are players who are actively looking for clues and actively looking for exit, and there are NPCs who are just following the leaders. Last time I went to the escape room, my friend was doing most of the job and I was just assisting him. Anyways, the question is, which one are you? Are you the active player, or you are just waiting for someone to solve this puzzle for you and you are hoping that something will work out in your favor? Now, this is important because time is running out. You cannot see the clock, but it is ticking. And longer you stay confused, the more normal being trapped feels like. Now, escape room is not just without rules. There are few important rules. Number one is everything is a clue, but you might be looking at the wrong ones. Most of the beginners make the same mistake. They look for the prettiest object and the most obvious things that might be the clues. But the real clues are your repeated failures. Everything that you tried and it is not working is also telling you that how you are not supposed to look inside this escape room. And second is, your weirdest interests are your biggest clues in your real life. What is really pissing you off? That is giving you a sign that what you do not want to do. This is your nature telling you that where to look for the clues. But most of us do not want to do that. We want to stay pissed off, or we want to keep ignoring things. Personally, I am not very good at going deep into one specific job. I am someone who can handle multiple jobs at the same time at the managerial level. And this is why when I entered in the business, I got significantly more success than I could get when I was sitting on the laptop and trying to solve one specific coding problem, because that was frustrating me way more. And there is a perspective problem. So let's say this is an escape room where you are standing at the center and you are looking from your point of view, but the clue might be hidden from another perspective. You might want to move to another corner, and from there, when you start looking, you will see a different reality of the room, and it tells us a lot about our own life. You can immediately stop trying to figure out what is your entire life purpose, and you can stop thinking that you will figure out everything by standing at the center. You need to move somewhere to look at more pieces of the puzzle. Life was never meant to be understood just by standing at one place. In spirituality, if you think about Buddha, he had to walk a lot before he realized that he has to sit still and go deep within himself. And even then, he was on his journey within. Journey is meant to happen, whether you want it or not. Every movement is revealing a new information. And then there is a third rule, which is time creates reality. So when you enter in the room, you know that you have a lot of time. So you do not take things very seriously. You are still looking at the most obvious things. You are also wasting your time. But as time moves forward, and at some point you realize that the bell is gonna ring and you need to act fast. And that's where your reality starts changing. You start looking at things more clearly and more carefully. And that's where you start finding the clues. Now, if I take this perspective in business, one of the best things that I personally love is I create challenges for myself. So I started this 90 days content challenge when I wanted to become a content creator. And that changed my entire reality, because I went from someone who could not speak to camera, who was not comfortable talking in English or having conversation with anyone, to someone who can speak before the camera and speak to different people. So when you create a time pressure for yourself, because this is a simulation that you have created in your mind for your mind, when you create this time pressure, this window, this allows you to act more carefully and more consciously. Now, if you understand this analogy of escape room for your real life, let me give you this method I call clue. So there are three elements of it: C for collect, L for link, U for understand, and E for execute. So this is the clue method. Number one is you need to begin with collecting what is actually happening around you. So you need to stop ignoring the data that life is giving you. Based on your failures, first of all, there are no failures. There are only experiences of life. But in our perceived reality, we consider them failures. So you look for all the things that did not work out for your desired outcome, and you look for that data. You ask these questions like, what is draining my energy and what is giving me energy? You want to do more of things that energize you. Then second question to ask is, what is happening over and over? Because that is giving you a very important clue that something is not working out. And then the third thing is, what are people always asking you to help with? Now this is very important, because that is telling you that what is your superpower. What are the things that you are personally good with? Because a lot of times your skills and your superpowers will be hidden from you. And once you collect the data, then you need to start linking the patterns. The clues are not random. They are connected. For example, your biggest struggles often point to your biggest opportunities. If you think about the Batman, he had the fear from bats and darkness, and this is what became his superpower. I really love this character of Batman, because that kind of tells you that when you go through your fears and challenges, the new life that was meant for you emerges. There is a pattern to connect. One is your natural talents, and second is your deepest pains, what frustrates you most. And this is how you will discover your escape route. For example, you can ask, what am I complaining most about? You want to reflect onto this question. Why something is so triggering for me? What is pissing me off? It might be a clue about your own personality or about your own bigger purpose. Because if something is frustrating you and something is happening again and again, that means this is the reality you want to change. You want to get out of that escape room, that mental escape room that you have created. And the third step is U, which is understanding your room's theme. Every escape room has a theme. So does your life. Now here are a few questions to ask. Are you in a creativity room but you are trying to escape a logical puzzle? It's an important question to ask. There is a very popular quote by Einstein. If you compare the fish by its ability to climb the tree, then fish is always going to be last in the school. This happens to most of us. A lot of us are trying to compete in a game that was never supposed to be ours. So you need to identify if you are playing the game that you even love to play. What is the theme of your escape room? And then the last step of this strategy is E, which is execute. Execute despite uncertainty. In escape rooms, you try things even when you are not sure. And this is very important about life. We learn by making a lot of mistakes, because everyone who went before us, like our parents, grandparents, our ancestors, they had a different escape room and we have a different escape room. Our theme is different, our design is different, our clues are different, but there are still lessons from them that we can apply in our own reality. But we still need to act, and we need to make our own mistakes to discover the clues. We cannot rely 100% on the information that is coming out of someone else's escape room. Now, let me give you an example. So let's say someone is very good at mathematics, and because he is very good at maths, he was selected for the scientist role in a very important company. Now, you might be very good artist, and he is telling you that, oh, life is great just because mathematics exist, and you start doubting yourself because you are like, oh shit, okay, I need to learn mathematics instead of art. Now think about it. He is in a different escape room and you are trying to learn from that person. You might get some guidance, but you still need to figure out your own clues. Does it make sense? There is a moment in every escape room when suddenly everything clicks. The random clues start making sense, and you realize that the exit was there the whole time. Everything becomes so clear, and you look at all these patterns, you can see them clearly, and then you keep discovering all these new doors. You cannot connect the dots by looking forward, but when you look back, you can see that it was all connected. Suddenly, your random experiences start connecting. Your weird combination of skills start making sense, and you start looking at your life back, and everything starts making sense. Suddenly, you stop trying to be someone and you start becoming more of yourself. But here's the crazy part. Once you escape one room, you realize that life is a series of escape rooms. You get out of one and then you get into another and another and another until you get free of this life.